Yo! Welcome everybody to Into the Splinterlands, the YGG SPL Weekly podcast. My name is RoguePatton. I will be your host for the evening, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Damour.
Hello, everybody. Great to see you all.
Yeah. Our super regular, super awesome Mr. Virus.
What's going on, guys?
And the brawler himself, the man in the comments, all over Twitter, all over everywhere, Mr. Tails. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Rogue?
Dude,
Damour,
it's great
Virus?
to have you.
Appreciate
To have you. But yeah, so it is another week in Splinterlands. We have had a town hall. We have had all of our usuals. But we were given something during the town hall that I didn't think was going to be controversial by any stretch. It was actually something we were most looking forward to from the last week was the introduction of the new promo card. But that promo card ended up being
Controversial.
Really? And actually got a lot of people a little hasty with their words, I would say.
Okay.
But what is your guys' thoughts on our girl? What is her name? Uriel?
Zuriel sounds right.
Yep, Zuriel.
Cereal? Count Chocula?
Cereal. Okay. Who's going to go first?
Up here.
Oh, I guess
Cereal with Y. Okay.
So I thought it was going to be a summoner for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, right?
Many people were in that camp. Weird. Yeah, for
Which
sure.
one of us was right?
So Rogue, I've got to give it to you, but that is definitely a monster, right? So well done. Well called. Well called.
Thank you. Tails, you got it? You anything?
Sorry, there's a little static on the line. Can you say
all right.
So anyway, Virus.
Well, I got the colors right though. I did.
Say you did. You nailed the colors.
You perfectly nailed that.
Even some of these abilities.
The most wanted pairing is there.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough because for weapons training right now, I think the least used of the weapon training is ranged.
For sure.
I don't know how often, if you were to look at how often a card's played, that the Earth weapons training card
gets played.
How often does it get played versus the water one that's melee? That thing's a great card. The Kulu Mastermind.
Yeah.
Great card.
Yeah.
And so many nice things to pair it with in water, as opposed to in Earth, which doesn't really have many nice things.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of strange things about it because it's also got shared abilities with the other weapons trainer, the magic one.
Yes, of course.
What's the shared ability with the life magic?
Let me see. I know that they both have rust. They both have, weapons training, obviously. Let me go back and look at that.
Let's go take a look. All right. Divine Shield and Rust. Wow, look at that. Yeah. You are not wrong.
And then 3 magic damage at the top.
I wonder if our death one has like the other suite of abilities.
It does have magic as well.
No, it doesn't.
Resurrect, which is nice, and a Fury. Yeah. Okay.
So the nice thing is that both of their weapons trainers are magic, which means that you can surround someone with both of them and get a result of the different attacks.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but so it's not, at least they're not all ranged. But there's a couple of things that people have been calling out too, just with the speed, with it being 2 speed.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Lucky Lukey, first time chat. Nice to see some new faces here.
But yeah, with it being 5 damage and being vulnerable to force field. But
yeah, I've definitely seen all of the context around how this card doesn't counter anything in the meta and actually plays into the meta. Like this is hard countered by the current meta. And that's always a hard card to sell in any trading card game, right? Like if you have an established meta and you print a card that just gets poo-pooed on, it can't even be Rogue. It can't be Rogue. It can't be tier 2. It's just if it can't beat meta, then man, what is it? You know? Because it's been interesting. I've been watching everybody on Twitter, and I've been watching like a lot of the champion players, the diamond players talk about this from that level, right? And so I've had to look at it from the perspective of like silver and bronze. For me, weapons training in bronze isn't terrible, right? Because we don't really in bronze and silver, there isn't a lot of those support abilities that you get with a fully leveled up no attack card. You know, it's very much like you get like one ability, if that, right? Chaos
yeah, it's
Agent,
like a body that takes one shot, and that's
it's a
about
meat
it. There's
shield.
nothing
All
else
of
to
our
it.
things that don't have attacks are meat shields. And so now our meat shields can attack, right? So in bronze and silver, that's really kind of where we're at for the most part. So giving those things attacks is fine because the whole reflection type of meta isn't fully as prevalent, I think, in silver and below as it is in diamond and champion, right? So like when I looked at this card, the thing that just kind of appeased me the most about it is that it was kind of white, and you just can't bring ranged in white right now. White has all of the return fire, and so like you're not doing anything with that. So I had to look at it from the perspective of what black decks am I going to play this in? You know, when I don't have to deal with Ilthane. In my mind, I was like, okay, certain things when I would look at this card, white's not available, blue's not available in terms of like silver and bronze, right? Because blue's still too fast. It's way too fast. And this would probably never land a shot. But if you don't have blue and if you don't have white, then you know this card could play into the meta somewhere. But it's been interesting hearing all of you guys talk about it from that perspective. People have talked about it, in the way of like almost a level 3, like a 6 BCX of this card is almost optimal because nobody loves the weapons training anyway. So you're not really playing it for the weapons training. You have the full suite of abilities and it dodges force field. And so you're just kind of like, you almost have the sweet spot at 6 BCX.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Yeah, the 5 damage though, the nice thing about it is that whoever you give weapons training to then has the 3 damage.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And that's where, but like what it sounds like is everybody in champion, like weapons training isn't an ability. So like I hear the argument, but I think it's more prevalent that nobody plays the ability. So like don't suck a bunch like another 5 BCX into one copy and make it super unplayable when it might be playable at 6 BCX, for champion diamond, from that
to totally segue the conversation, those 6 BCXs are going to cost a damn fortune.
And that's also where the argument comes in. It's like, okay, are you gonna look at this card from like, are you going to sink another 5 BCX at that price for the extra weapons training or the extra I don't know.
Nothing at that stage. I think only the extra damage, right?
Yeah, it's only the extra damage, but like I think in champion you have to play with all maxed cards or else you get a penalty.
Sure, there will be a penalty for that. Yeah, sure.
Right. Probably make up for it by it being a promo.
Yeah, it might.
So
I've never really been in that privilege because they always aim at the whales for these promo cards. It seems.
you haven't noticed like a Vruz, like, or an Archimist Bear, that little bump you get from those?
So Vruz for me again was a whale player, right?
Yeah,
Because
it really was.
the smaller guys don't have thousands of SPS staked,
It's true.
and you know, again, it was rewarding the whales, not
Yeah,
rewarding
but the secondary price had to have been, like, we can't get better than that for a secondary price on a card, right? Like, what is it, 50 cents?
50 cents.
Like, that
Okay.
was kind of where we were
Well,
talking about last week,
I think
potentially.
penny reward cards are a hell of a cheaper than 50 cents. But okay, if you want to go 50 cents is the same, right?
I
Okay,
would
sure.
I will actually think that is, at the end of the day, I am curious, like, where would you set the floor as company can sell a card for its own money? Like, to fill its coffers, what is the lowest price?
For me, it's more two types of cards I want to see, and it's not really about. I understand the company needs to fill their coffers for various reasons, right? To just keep going. So I do not want to take away from that. So I do understand the need for aiming at whales because they are the ones who are most likely going to be buying a promo card of any kind, right? But at the same time, I want every now and again a card like an Archimist was more that play, right? Archimist was aimed at the community. It was everybody because all you needed to do was buy some packs, right? And people
Yeah, but
can afford some packs.
the pack was almost $2.
Right. So okay, $2 is
That's
all
an
right
$800 card at max.
for one card. $800. Okay, I hear you. I hear
$800
you.
for a four, and then, like, it was 400,000 SPS staked for. So, like, that's what I mean. Like,
So that's even
we
more. Okay,
look
I hear what you're saying. 50 cents
we
was
look at
lower.
Vruz and we look at
Yeah,
Archimist and we say those are fairly priced because the secondary market really just kind of dictated that those were, that they flooded the whales enough that it trickled down to us, right? But, like,
yeah,
realistically, I think from a pricing perspective, I understand that it's high. Um, and yeah, we'll just see at the end of the day where the market decides. It'll
where the
either
card
sell
lands.
out or it won't sell. And then the company, and that's the beautiful part about this, is the company will make future decisions based on this, right? Like, it won't make a decision based on our ranting today. Like,
No,
our ranting today,
exactly.
they're not going to be like, oh no, we should have done something different. Like, they are going to either get paid or not get paid. And then the next time they try to launch a product, they're going to be like, it
We,
worked or
we,
it didn't.
we want to
So
get paid, so let's do something different.
so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, because there is a chance that, this does sell fine. There could still be plenty of people out there that are willing to go for this. For me, the win was one BCX. I think that's the important part about
Yes.
all of the promo sales going forward, because that makes it not whale food.
Well,
Because
it's a start. It's a step in the right direction. Agreed.
as a bronze player, I only need one of these,
Yes, exactly.
and it's 40 bucks. It's 40 bucks, 50 something with vouchers.
Yes.
I mean, realistically, I guess it depends on what kind of a level player you are, but I don't see that that's excessive. If we're talking about bronze players that are playing Untamed Chaos Rift Watchers, $50 add to a $3,000 deck makes sense, right?
I hear
But
you.
the
It's actually not
spectrum
so
of
bad.
what a bronze player could be is huge, right? And simultaneously now, the spectrum of what a champion player is also very huge. And I think this is something that I brought up in somebody's comments before, is in my opinion, we have a lot of champion players that can't sustain their champion deck
Yes.
because they've overextended on chaos only, and they're just going to do that and they're not going to be able to afford anything else because they're not really at a
Champion ready.
champion level income. You know, they're not at
They're
a
not.
champion level, you know,
Competitive
account,
level.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you look at the champions that have been like, they have the full Untamed set, they have the full Chaos set, Rift
Yeah, sure.
Watchers, like that's one level of champion player. And then there's everybody else that's just squeaking in with only 3 splinters of chaos,
Yeah.
you know, or like riding on the back of their Lux Vega and all of their reward promos maxed out, right? Like that's
That's you.
it didn't
That's
make it
you.
the champion yet, but like
You haven't made
I'm
it to champion yet, I was just
overperforming,
gonna say.
you
All
know.
right,
So
fair.
like so it's hard for me. So I have no sympathy because I've warned people about this for a long time, that just because you're playing in a league does not mean that you are that league's player. You know what I mean? You might have snuck in, and guess what? You can't sit with your 3 splinter chaos deck and be like, man, they're releasing max level cards that I can't afford. Bro, you're playing 3 splinters of one set. Like, you're not really there, you know? And so I can understand the frustration there. Like, I would hate to be playing the game of Splinterlands and to have my hands tied to one deck for the rest of my career in Splinterlands because I can't upgrade any other card to get there, or I'm doing it one at a time and they're releasing cards so fast that I'm just like cherry picking and my deck's really not changing. So that's kind of where I see this. You know, yes, it is a $600-$700 card at max, right? Lux Vega was 1,000. We had how much was Waka? Was Waka 15 or
Sure.
something
I
like
don't remember
that?
the starting one for that one. I think it was higher, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Wasn't it
don't remind me.
3,000?
It was like 1,500.
Oh,
Was
was
it 15?
1,500? Okay.
Yeah, and then you've got Archimist Bear that was arguably another $800 card because he had to at least buy $2 packs to get one, right? Now on the secondary market, it's what? Nope. $100? $100, maybe $200 for Vruz max level commons. So, you know, I think it's within the realm of the norm, and I'm
500
happy
in
that they
vouchers.
split it out at 1 BCX so that bronze players can participate as well. That's really where this is all inclusive for me, and it does not classify as whale food because a player can go get 1 BCX for their bronze deck. That's how I view this.
And I'm in agreement there. Thanks for that after sound. So 1K in SPS for Waka and 500 in vouchers. So
Woof.
the original price for the pre-sale Waka.
I wonder what vouchers were priced at that time too.
Right?
Wasn't that the expensive time? If I think so. So.
I would be like it's really interesting for me to see because like the thought is that Zero will probably never be lower than whatever it's like currently being sold for. But history says that's not true, right? Like you can go buy Waka right now for what, $350?
It's come down.
Its current low.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this as well, Rogue, because, you know, when it comes to Zuriel, I think, look, I don't think anyone should be outraged by the price of the card or the card itself or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's a promo card and it's, you know, the company's selling it for money. So whatever they decide to price it at, you know, that's fine. As a consumer, you ultimately speak with your wallet. And like you mentioned, you know, if people don't buy it, then the company will take note of it and adjust itself for future sales. But, you know, I mean, I think they do run into a problem here with this particular card. because it is expensive. It is a bear market. And I think the sentiment has generally been, I don't want to speak for people necessarily, but from what I've heard on the content that's been created on Zuriel, is I don't think Bulldog's going to get one. I don't think Hawks is going to get one. I don't think Aftersound's going to get one. I think you mentioned that you may not get a full version, like a champion version. I doubt that I will get any either. So, these are players that have, I think, for the most part, pretty strong decks that we're talking about here, content creators. And if they're saying no, well, that's, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it's released and what people do. But it's definitely a warning sign. And I can tell you that I think the price right now, when I looked at price in the market, it was like $51.80 with the price of DEC today and the price of vouchers is what one BCX of this card costs. And if you go on to Peak Monsters and you look at it, $51 is, I can get a Dr. Blight off the market right now for $43. And Blight, like if I play in gold level or higher and I don't have a Blight at gold level and higher, there's no reason whatsoever that you should buy a Zuriel if you don't have a Blight. Blight is a neutral 4-mana card with just much better abilities. So it just doesn't make sense. So I guess my point here is, unless you have like a kind of like a full or complete or a pretty robust deck for the level that you play at, even to your comparison earlier, Rogue, if you're playing in bronze, $51.80 can get you a lot of Chaos Legion cards. Like if you don't have bronze max for Chaos Legion, you better check your deck, and you're better off honestly probably spending it on something else from a pure meta perspective. And that leads me to my probably last point I'll mention on this is that, if you're a champion player and you're buying them at $51.80 a BCX, that's roughly $570 for a full copy. Let's say you wanted to go 11 BCX instead of 6 BCX. And Virus mentioned the reason why you might want to consider 6 BCX. But let's say you went with a full max copy. $569. Is that card going to earn you $569 in SPS anytime soon? Because that's the question you need to ask yourself. Because as you alluded to earlier, the history on these promo cards is not great. You look at Waka. Lux might be a bad example because that was pretty unique. But you look at all these other cards, they've generally gone down in value in the recent markets, like Oshure and all these other cards. So if you're buying the card as a collector's item, hoping it goes up, you better have diamond hands, and you better have like a 2 or 3 year or more time frame to get that money back if you think you're going to get appreciation on that, or else you're expecting, like I said, a ton of SPS value in ranked rewards just from that card alone. So again, I don't know. It seems like a luxury to me at that price, and we'll see what the market says.
Yeah, I can see it being a luxury, because honestly, that's the way I'm viewing it. I'm viewing it as adding it to my silver deck or to my bronze deck because they are full decks. They're not lacking anything, and so this would just be an additional utility, and that does generate wins, having more utility than my opponent, but like definably, as much money, like it'd be hard to quantify that. So I also agree. I think this card is for the people that have everything and want the next thing, and yeah, I think one of the biggest notes though is for those of you that were not around in the Chaos Legion pre-sale, Dr. Blight was obnoxiously expensive. Like, in order to get a Dr. Blight, if I remember right, it was 50 packs. And during the pre-sale, vouchers were $25 a pop.
Like 22 to 25, roughly. Yeah.
Right?
They were
Just the voucher, not including the $4 pack, right? So you had to dump we'll just call the voucher, right? We're talking, what is that? 1,200 and some dollars. So like 50 times 25, it's $1,250.
Sounds right.
holy crap. And now the card, and I remember it stayed up in the hundreds for a really long time. Breaking 100 was like, whoa. And now we're down to 40 some bucks. It's
That's quite a
like,
big dip.
oh, it's a huge dip. And the Waka here at 400. It's amazing. It's amazing that at some point in history, it doesn't matter what you paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, who would be selling a Dr. Blight for these prices if they had to earn it by dumping $25 vouchers? You know? Or like the Waka was a straight up sale. Like there was no discounts to be had. That was straight $1,000 and 500 vouchers. And it's currently trying to be offloaded for less than that, right? So there's even something to say that maybe the price doesn't have to be 50 some bucks. Maybe you just wait. Secondary market happens.
Secondary market does secondary market things.
People try to offload it because they try to extend into a position that they had no business being in, or maybe they hate the card after they've played with it and they're like, I'll take my loss, dump it.
Yeah,
Maybe you
I
can buy it
think
cheaper
I think it might be the latter, honestly. Because
like
the archery
for Waka, it's got to be for Waka, not for Blight, though, right?
Well, I mean, for this new promo, though, I think people may buy it because they think it's going to be meta and they think it's going to be rare, and it'll be rare, but Waka's rare too, and look where it's at. I mean, it doesn't get play in really the higher leagues. It's not in demand, and there's only, I think, roughly 5,500 BCX of Waka total.
Yeah,
which is going to be 1/3 of what's possible with Zerial, and we'll see what the final print on Zerial is going to be. But again, just because it's rare doesn't mean it's in demand. It's meta that it's going to demand a premium. And I think the problem with ranged is you don't have a neutral card, you don't have a dragon card, you have a two splinter card, and it's ranged. And not every battle is close range, and you don't have a close range summoner for those. And then you've got the hard counter and Ilthane anytime you use it with life. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a strong card. It's going to be a good card. Is it a meta card? Like, if you go to the Chaos Legion, I did this on my Splinterlands TV stream the other night. If you're on Chaos Legion and you sort by legendaries, like Desert Dragon selling for like $2, like $2 and something a BCX. Is this card going to be more meta than Desert Dragon? Because I get a lot of wins with Desert Dragon. And yeah, it's a niche card, but it's only $2. And it gets me SPS wins in Champion. Like, why would I pay like $51 for a card that may or may not get me wins? Because it's rare. I mean, okay, go ahead and play that rare card. I mean, it means nothing to me, honestly. But I look at it more from I look at it in a combination of game and a little bit of DeFi. If it's not going to earn me the money back and it's not going to, win me games, I'm not really interested.
Well, especially the position that you've taken, because you've split your deck, right, for farming purposes.
Yes.
So yeah, your strategy in Splinterlands right now, this card does not benefit at all, right? It would have to go for the people that have full decks, right? But yeah, it looks like good conversation here in the chat. Stever and Chuni going a little bit back to back. So basically, it's the only question with boss, which one plays better, right? Yeah, the buyers will be the guys sitting on a lot of vouchers. Still, though, the guys sitting on a lot of vouchers are also probably the guys that have a lot of land and need the DEC. That's where I'm also concerned about this sale, is because they've done a good job of programming everybody here recently to be like, hoard your DEC, land's coming. You don't have enough DEC, and then simultaneously being like, hey, I'm gonna sell you this card for some DEC.
So
Well, and
spend your DC.
here's the other thing that no one's talking about is there's likely going to be a mini set that's dropped on us probably in
Oh yeah,
May or June timeframe.
No
right?
way that soon. You think so?
Yeah.
I've heard talk of that.
They'll
but,
announce it. There's no way.
No, I think it's probably in the next 2 months is realistic for them to get cards out. I mean, card design is, I mean, it's
They're on the
involved and
ball.
it's detailed, but it's, you know, if Nate and the team have already been working on this for a while since Splinterfest and just waiting for the ink to dry on the contract, they could have a pretty good head start. And I mean, that if that's within, let's say, 60 days, perhaps for a pre-sale, you know, there's going to be some legendaries and some desirable cards in that set more than likely. So the question is would you rather spend like, you know, $500, $800 on this card now today, or would you rather wait and buy packs or singles from this new mini set in a couple, like 30 to 60 days? I don't know. I mean, if you have unlimited funds, then just buy everything.
Right.
If not, you might want to plan carefully.
I'm looking forward to the day when I do. That'll be nice.
You and me both.
That'll be nice because I won't be. And I guess that's kind of like I see myself in the future, and I'm not gonna say it for a certainty because you asked me a year ago, I was never gonna run a bot. But look at me now.
Yeah, sure.
Multi-accounting all over the place.
Mr. Pokemon Farm.
Exactly. But I don't ever see once I get to that threshold of I own everything and I have everything, I don't see myself as somebody that'll go for duplicates. It'll just continue to be like a stashing of other assets, you know, like I don't think I'll be the guy that maintains multiple decks. Once I have a champion deck, I would love to be able to just have enough liquid funds and I'm just doing enough stuff in the ecosystem that when they do this, they're like, hey, I made a card. Can I have $1,000? I'll be like, sure, bro. Give Aggie a high five. You know what I mean? I would love to get to that point, but it comes from the discipline of like I look at region holders right now and I'm just like, that's too much. Like there's no way everybody has enough. Like there's no way people have enough to work an entire region themselves, you know, and that kind of commitment to all of that I think is excessive. People maintaining like 5 or 6 diamond decks. I'm just like, oh, that's excessive, you know. So I would love to get to that point, and I've talked about it before. Like my strategy will be once I'm max level modern and I can always buy max level modern, I will just start putting funds into wild. I'll start buying the alphas. I'll start buying the betas, so that way I can have everything eventually. Like that'll just be my strategy.
I don't see myself getting there unless I win the lottery or something like that.
20 years.
So Steve here in the chat saying, in theory, you can buy 40k DEC and 4,000 vouchers and sell the card for hopefully 50k DEC. So it is kind of like if I dumped 4,000 vouchers.
Well, I mean, I guess theoretically, yeah, what 10k DEC gets you? I mean, 10k DEC is only $10, but that's more than 160 vouchers, or that's less than 160 vouchers.
Well, I mean, if you're buying 40 or if you're buying 25 BCX, you're going to have to pull out 1 million DEC. So I don't know if that's factored into that math or not, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are some big numbers of DEC. So if people are burning that amount, I think it's good for the economy. I doubt that people are going to be burning that amount, though. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Another thing coming around the corner, too, is going to be probably Rift Watchers for DEC, which is going to be including vouchers, too, to get those bonus packs.
And I'm really happy that they're increasing the amount of things that need vouchers, right? Because they really needed to do that. So these large sinks for voucher stuff, good. We need to burn them. We need to get rid of them off the market.
And that's another tough part with this card too, is that currently there's a lot of things that are coming in the pipeline to buy. it's not like we're in a drought where there's nothing new that's coming anytime soon and nothing that's come out lately. You have to buy this knowing that you have to use DEC for land. That if you want Rift Watcher cards, you might have to buy Rift Watcher cards. That, tower defense might be coming up soon if you want to get more tower defense stuff. So I mean, like there's plenty of places to spend your money right now. And with this card not being something that's, Lux Vega tier or Dr. Blight tier, then it's kind of tough to make that decision for a lot of people to just go all in on this one.
Yeah, I think we're not going to see a lot of sales ultimately. Range historically has really been the least favorite type of damage in any way, right? It's got a lot counting against it. A lot of things have to fall into place for range to be, to shine. And yeah, I mean, it's.
But you'll see.
I will say though.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Vice, I was just going to say, I will say that I have been blown out of the water by Selenia Sky teams in the past a few times before. So
Yeah,
range
exactly.
can definitely win, but it's not the probably meta team usually.
And Death has some great ranged cards,
Yeah.
What's the Rift Watcher one that's I'm trying to think of her name.
The Queen of Crows?
Yeah, Queen of Crows is a great card for ranged. And
the Rift Watcher card, very nice.
And there's some great cards you could pair the weapons training with in Death as well. So I mean, there's some good uses for it, and it'd be great to have.
The new Soulbound, like that mist. I forget what the name is though.
Will-O-Wisp.
Will-O-Wisp. That's the one.
Yeah. It's amazing how many games I've played with a Will-O-Wisp.
Yes, it is quite a common fantasy trope.
Yes,
the Will-O-Wisp.
Yep. But yeah, I'm going to be buying. I'm on the fence between 3 and 6. 6 would be the future projection of my gold deck. Like I like to be laying the foundation for that gold deck now. And in the interim, I would be able to have mine for silver, and for each of my Pokemon, they can each have one. So I'm kind of toying between that or just going 3 BCX and giving them to the Pokemon and just not even taking them outside of bronze, because that's ultimately where I'm at. I don't think silver gives it a lot at the end of the day. And so I don't think I would level it up to silver just to keep it there. I'm either thinking gold or I'm thinking just leaving them for bronze. So that's where I'm still on the fence. I have all the funds for them, but I'm in the same boat. A lot of people in the community brought up good points. Is like there are other things to spend the money on, and right now, as I'm in transition from silver to gold, I have other things to spend the money on. So also I still got. I'm moving some plots to Gankland, and part of that is I'm gonna buy one of his magical commons, and so I need to get a couple hundred together for that, and then so yeah, lots of stuff in the ecosystem, and I don't know where I want to land on Zerial. I know I'm gonna have at least one, for sure, at least one. So it's because I think the card is beautiful for one. And from that perspective, this is kind of the stance that I've taken on social media, is like, look at this card, like hats off to the artist, in my opinion. And just honestly, the fact that he said we took this artist off of a super secret project to do this, I was like, what's the super secret? What if the super secret project is following this style? Like, this is up my alley from the card game I came from, Force of Will. Like, this is kind of like I'm getting, that kind of anime style vibes. The colors are great in this.
Poppin'.
She is just like, this is
looks very cool.
Yeah,
Looks
and
very
you know,
cool.
all the thigh, so much thigh. It's good thigh. You know, did a great job. You know, I see a
What's
belly button.
interesting, if you compare the Spawn style art that was
Teased.
previewed at
Mm,
Splinterfest,
Exactly.
you might see
yeah.
some similarities. Now, it might have just been with the color set they used,
Yep.
but I'm not sure if there's an artistic design there.
I
So again,
I get
it
Spawn
could
vibes for
be
sure.
it could be that mini set. Who knows? But it bodes well either way. If the artist or artists that they had working on this, working on a new project, and it's a card set or new card designs, whatever, it bodes well for whatever that project is as far as the art goes. So
Yeah. And I personally think this is kind of a step above in art in terms of like where we've been. I think this is still even above. I think this is above Chaos Legion at this point. There's not really.
wait, you're saying this is above the Hardy Stonefish?
Well, I mean,
Don't get crazy, Rogue.
no. All right, most of Chaos Legion. This is, but you're right. You're right. Not a Hardy Stonefish. Hardy Stonefish. Let's all go admire the Hardy Stonefish for a minute while we go. Come here, buddy. There he is. Look at him. He's a great guy. You're right. This doesn't compare to that.
Well, okay.
I mean, there's certainly a shift that happened in the art, even just with the legendary summoners. You know,
Yep.
from that time they had between when Chaos Legion was selling versus when the legendary summoners are being released. Like the art on, you know, Pasibilis and Immortalis,
They've upgraded.
Astral Entity is
They've
definitely
upgraded.
is an upgrade.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So Baku is saying, wait, you say to use with Will-O-Wisp, but wouldn't that stop it from attacking since it's range?
So sure, you would definitely want a close range rule set being in play. You know, obviously some certain conditions would need to be activated for it to make sense. But you know, yeah, that's
Nah, don't let
possible
him
use
talk you out
case.
of it. Don't let him talk you out. I've done it. I've played Will-O-Wisp in position 4. It's fine. Oh, don't. You're good. But no, I think this is one of the big areas for me is just how beautiful the card is. This is very. I am very satisfied if this is the direction that we're going with our art and how this game is going to be. This is a step in the right direction. And honestly, staring at this border, that was really cool for me because this is also very nostalgic from my Magic the Gathering background.
Okay.
This like running dual cards
Yeah.
has been a thing for me for a really long time. And so seeing a dual card in Force of Will, it does. It feels really good. It feels like a step in the right direction. I mean, there were podcasts we were doing with Luke back in the day when I was talking about what if Splinterlands ever did dual colors, right?
Well, here
Like
we are. It's
so yeah,
arrived.
and here we are, right? Like so I'm excited for it, but I understand what everybody's talking about. Totally understand.
There is some positive vibes in the chat. I really like the new promo card from Canada.
Nice.
804.
Canada usually does have stuff backwards, so it makes sense.
Okay, well, that's a jab at Canada. There you go.
Just kidding, brother. Just kidding. But yeah, so I'll probably at least be getting 3, and we'll see if I go for 3 more. But sigh. But
Why did she have to be range? She has a gauntlet, doesn't have a bow, guns, and is range. What's going on?
Well, that's a bow.
Is that a bow?
That's totally a
Okay.
bow.
That looks like a bow. Let's look
How
at
is
the
that
big
not
picture.
a bow? This is
That's
totally a bow.
That's a bow for sure. That's a
That
bow.
what do you think?
She does wear gloves, right, or gauntlets, like he's saying. So yeah, that is definitely a bow. I don't
This
see
is-
arrows though. But maybe she has those magical arrows that appear when she pulls the string, right? So that
Ooh,
that's
yes,
like really
the
cool.
non-existing string too. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, let's go.
It's a
Ooh,
magical
speaking
bow.
of animations,
a
right? I wonder what kind of animations they've
Ooh.
drawn up for her.
It's
Let's go.
It's a Klingon weapon, says Bakuo.
Mm. Mm. Sweet, sweet. All right, homies. So yeah, moving on. Let's go talk about this proposal. Let's magic string.
Magic
Pulling on the
string.
magic string. So we had a proposal came out, and I thought it was so vague that it wasn't real.
I think it's intentionally vague to allow the company to implement it in ways they
That's
see fit.
Literally the opposite of what they've said. They had at
Take a
this
breather.
point.
Take a breather.
At this point, Aggie and Matt have literally never gone on the town hall and been like, well, please just let me know if you don't like bots, but leave it open so that it's my discretion to decide how I want to handle bots.
Well,
please.
Did you see Matt's
literally begged
response?
for the opposite.
Did you
They
read
said
Matt's,
they said, fine, you want to bind them? Tell me how you want to do it. Let's go. Like, whatever. You guys propose it. This is subbed out. You guys tell me, because I'm not going to do it. It's literally the stance. So why would a proposal come out? And then, honestly, and that's the funny part about all of this for me. Totally funny is dude comes out with vague thing that just says, let's create a safe space for humans, but gives no details. And then Matt comments of like, hey, what if we kind of thought about that safe space as modern? And the dude's like, yes, copy paste. And he says, new proposal, safe space is modern because Matt said,
boom.
Still nothing.
I love it. I love it.
Still not like, yeah. So
I want my safe space modern.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea. And then Splinterlands is going to be like, all right. So,
all right. So I got to say something here, Rogue.
Go ahead, brother.
So,
sorry, were you the one that did this? Hold on.
No, I was not. but I will say, I mean, look, it sometimes, it just takes a spark here to get something that we want. And I was really happy to see that Matt commented on the pre-proposal and made some pretty thoughtful comments to say, hey, if you guys want this, if this is what the community wants, let's, from a practical perspective, we can't really create easily a new league, but we can take like half of one of the ones that already exists and do some things to it to help. And what that showed is that it showed thoughtfulness to say, hey, we understand there's sentiment around this that's not going away. Here's a boxed area, kind of like a tournament or a brawl or a ranked area that we could test it in. And it showed that they have put thoughts into how they could address bots. Maybe it's a multitude of different things that they could do or try. And here's where, and Virus and I have talked about this separately on another Discord, on Luthien's Discord with others. The thing to be able to come up with a solution for the bot kind of problems that we see is it has to be a collaboration between the development team and the community that plays the game to come up with something that makes sense and is agreeable. You can't just say on one side, hey, community, give us all the answers and then we'll build it, because the community doesn't have the technical knowledge to say, can you do this or do this, right? And then the technical team doesn't have the will or the bandwidth to necessarily address bots as an issue. But if they can come together and find a middle ground where we can say, hey, bring ideally the community leaders that we've put forth or other people in the community to talk to developers on the team, that we can actually have technical discussions and gameplay discussions and solution the problem. That's what we're missing. And we've had two different extremes spouting two different things and just yelling at each other basically across the room and not getting any answers. Now we have a possibility for some folks within the Splinterlands technical team to work with maybe some people in the Splinterlands community to come up with something that actually is workable and will bring about positive change.
Yeah.
And that to me is progress. All the other stuff is, I mean, everyone can, again, shout across the room and say, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. Or you didn't do this, or you didn't understand this. That doesn't get us anywhere closer. Now we're closer. We're getting there.
It's you.
Well, I tell you what, if maybe this is my fault because I just assumed that like they knew. Like we've talked about this many times. They're like was it really that simple just to burn 100K DEC that says please create a place for humans only? Like, was that all that had to happen?
I think so. The amount of time it's going to take them to implement this is pretty large. Like, this is not something that's going to come anytime soon. Like, you kind of have to know that, because this is like the solutions that they're going to have to implement in order to do this are probably going to change quite a bit about how the backend functions.
Sure.
And there's things that they could start doing to try to mitigate the bots. Like, and it might be phases of like, now we've gotten rid of how the hand helper works. And so now the hand helper will no longer work in modern. But the bots themselves, to actually stop the bots, they kind of have to change how the back end works in order to mitigate that.
Great.
And it depends if they're going with a solution of, I mean, they've always kind of said like, oh, we don't want to ban accounts. We don't want to be the arbiters of, the ban list. Mm-hmm. And that's one way to do it, is to actually, ban accounts that have been flagged as botting. But that's, I don't think anyone really wants that to happen. Most people that are in crypto or NFTs, space don't want to see, NFTs be useless in a game mode if they've been caught. But there's other solutions that they can try to do that, like I've been I gave a list of things that I think that they could do. Like one would be enabling CAPTCHA or reCAPTCHA, which then would have to be verified in the back end to see, like, was this person doing human things on the website before the match was submitted? If they didn't do human-like things on the site before it was submitted, then, or then don't allow the match to go forward or return an error, like basically invalidate the match. So there's things that they could try to implement that are technical things, but these are also things that the team has to determine what the costs are. And like,
do you think modern's the best place to try these versus like tournaments? Because like in my mind, just saying brawls or tournaments would have been like the easier one.
It's a smaller box, so I agree, definitely.
But the data pool is smaller. The way data comes in, I think, is also not as so. Like maybe it is better to start in modern. I go ahead, Virus.
I was saying, I personally think it'd be better for it to be started in tournaments and brawls. And I think especially because more people in the community view that as like the sacred place,
Yeah.
That they absolutely, like the ranked thing, it'd be great if there wasn't bots there, but the sacred place is tournaments and brawls. So it'd be better if it started there, but there's costs to each thing. Like there's cost to, if they ban the hand helper, the way that they might have to do that is that there's an API, the service that they call in the back end, that can see what the match is that's going on with the player. Yeah. If you turn that off, where you can't see what the match is that's going on, that might mean that if you refresh your screen, you can't get back into your match.
Yeah, you'll never get back in.
So if you refresh your screen, you lose network connection or anything like that, you automatically forfeit.
Yeah.
But that step might block the hand helper. So
You don't
there's
know that would also block
Hmm.
people like Mondroid going to the rental market and renting a
Mhm.
card that they need for a tournament right in the middle of the damn tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a thing that's going to have to be said to the community that this we can do this step, but this is going to have this kind of cost to it. Like it's like not everything's as easy as like, oh, the bots are magically gone. It's
There are
going to have,
costs involved. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
and then for the reCAPTCHA service, which CAPTCHAs are like when you have the images and words. ReCAPTCHA is something that runs in the back end and is looking at what you're doing on screen.
Is reCAPTCHA what Golem Overlord is doing?
Pretty much. It's just kind of looking at what you did recently, and it's giving you a score based on those things that you did. And if you've reached a certain threshold of like you've done human-like things, then it'll validate you. So, but the thing is that Google is the one that runs reCAPTCHA. Golem Overlord is using a free service, but Splinterlands might go with the Google one. And if Splinterlands goes with the Google one, there's a cost to that. They have to pay for that service. So that increases their server costs to just ban bots.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm just shocked that it was, if it was this simple and just took somebody just to type up, hey, please.
I was
Do
expecting that this was something that was going to be like a community leader that was going to have like a Discord channel that's going to have to talk with the devs that are in the community and then the dev team themselves and kind of go back and forth for a while and then come up with a proposal that was going to be, here's our attempt to get rid of bots from tournaments and brawls.
That would be a more robust attempt, certainly. I don't think this one is that, but it's a good first start.
Yeah, this one seems like it's more putting the onus on the team itself to just come up with, a magical solution on their own, which, I mean, you don't normally ask, like if you don't like something that's not working right on Amazon, you don't say, hey, here's the solution that I'm going to give you that you should do.
Yeah.
You kind of, the developers, the people that know their architecture of how the whole thing works are the best people that can find the best solution for what's, to do with it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting. Hopefully this does what we want it to. I actually don't mind it being modern. I think modern is definitely the new user space in terms of just kind of letting bots fight bots and being entertained by that and just letting assets kind of do them thing. I think that is a good place for Wild. At the end of the day, those are the people with the fullest collections and the probably are maybe some of the most idle players. And it would be very refreshing to know if I was in ranked playing just nothing but humans, and I would be very interested to see what the reward pool does. Like that's still the biggest question in my mind is if you take all the bots out of the ecosystem and a human has to play a match, how much SPS are you getting per win?
A lot more than we're currently getting, that's for sure.
What's interesting about that is we've gone down from, I don't know, 300,000 or 400,000 daily active accounts down to below 70,000. And I don't think the rewards have jumped super high necessarily. So we've lost roughly, let's say, 3/4 from the peak from a bot or just even player perspective. So again, if you go from 66,000 players down to 10,000 players, I mean, is it really going to be that big of a difference? I don't know. But I will say that the numbers that we're seeing for SPS rewards haven't like exponentially increased, even though we've lost quite a bit. But I will say also one thing on this topic that I think is interesting, and I don't know if a lot of people have mentioned it, but it's a pretty big shift when you think about it, what Matt said in that comment. He basically confirmed that if the DAO voted to want to not have bots in, let's say, an area of the game, let's say Modern League, the team would work to do something about that, which is a huge shift from where the team has been historically. Aggie's stance on the town halls and Matt's stance on the town halls have always been, we're bot neutral and we're not going to limit bots. But here, Matt has said, okay, you guys want to have Modern League without bots? Okay, let's take a look at it. That's a huge shift. And it shows the power that the DAO can have, for better or for worse, on the game, in that, you know, what the company as a centralized company has said, we are not going to do this. Now the DAO and the community and the game players have said, we want this. And the team has shifted directions because of that, or shown that they're willing to, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Another side effect that we kind of saw when Modern WoW was split was that at one point there was a lot of players that were in just Wild, and it was very difficult in Modern there was very little rating inflation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very difficult to get to champ. And then there was a shift back, and then everyone went to Modern, and, you know, the rating inflation was huge, and it was easy to get to, you know, champ 1 for the first time. If this happens again, like, it might be hard for those higher level players to even reach champ, just because the rating inflation might be so small in Modern versus Wild. You might have players going over to Wild to play with the bots just to take advantage of the rating inflation.
How effed up would that be, right? If they create a safe space for humans and everyone chooses to go play with the bots. They're just like, well, the safe place for humans, nobody's playing, so I guess I'm just gonna go play with the bots.
So do we really need the safe space then at that point in time?
Exactly.
It's
that would be hilarious. Aggie would have a flippin' field day with that.
It would be funny. It's like everybody demands, we don't want the bots. We don't want the bots. Okay, you don't get the bots, and then everybody plays with the bots. So it's like, okay.
On maybe a related topic, and this is maybe going out into left field at all, but I just want to ask the question on for those brawling, you know, how have let me ask this question. Has your win rate in brawls changed at all over, let's say, the last few brawls?
No.
So your win rate is the same or better than it's been?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I have a good reason for mine. Mine's I play in the Alpha Beta Gold League, and so in my opinion, I don't know if people are using like hand helpers in rent heavy frays, because that's essentially just what I've noticed is like sometimes I've noticed like I go into a brawl, and when it's like when we're paired with a lot of the good guilds, there's maybe only like 6 or 7 people in that fray, and they're all fully equipped, ready to go, like playing with crap, like real good stuff. And then there's other times when you go in there and there are 3 or 4 people filling in those spots that are still playing with like 1 BCX or something, just trying to make sure that if anybody fleed, then they would get a win, right? So in my fray, I think the data is a little skewed because oftentimes it ends up just coming down to, did you rent enough cards? Like, did you go like full out and get the Child of the Forest or Spirit of the Forest, or did you like go budget rental? You know, like, did you get a Pegasus? No, I didn't get a Pegasus. I'm not renting flipping Pegasus for this. Well, somebody did, and they clapped you because of it, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's my data on it. But anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a rough run for my last couple brawls, but it's funny because on my main, I've had a rough couple brawls, but on my alt playing in silver, I had the last 2, I think I've been flawless.
Nice.
In my matches. So it's kind of a weird mix, but I know that the competition, and because, you know, we're in T4 right now.
Yeah. I think that's what it is, Virus, honestly. And I don't have the logs from Battle Helper to verify it, but in T4, I just feel like a majority of people that were fighting are using Battle Helper, because I'm seeing teams with some strange placements and strange compositions that, yeah, are, let me just say it's definitely more of a bot team than a human team. And I don't know. I mean, I can't say for certain, because I don't know how to check Battle Helper to see if it's being used against me. But I can tell you, it's interesting. And I don't know if it's just maybe T4, they're spending it, they're requiring it. I don't know, but I will say I'm noticing a difference. So
After sound, no, I am not using the Battle Helper. I do not use any assistance in tournaments or in brawls. I do not want to.
Yeah, I haven't started yet. I've thought about it, but I haven't actually pulled the trigger on doing it. What do you guys think? I mean, if we're sure that people are using it against us, what's the best way to beat that? Join them, or
yeah,
you know?
I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I just would feel dirty doing it. I just
Plus,
take
you
my
got to pay
L's.
for it too, don't you?
Yeah, you have to pay for it, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to use bots in tournaments and brawls. I'm just not going to do it. And if I have to take, well, that's why I don't play tournaments for one right now. And if
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
take L's in turn or brawls right now because people are using it against me and I can't beat it, well, so be it. I mean, that's just the way it is. But that's just me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and I
the-
think Gank had a good point on one of his last shows. He said anybody going this route is really just hindering themselves for the future at the end of the day. Like, you're not learning the game, you're not growing with the game. And that will be the ultimate, that will end up being the ultimate mitigation, is if we ever get to the point where the human tournament, like the in-person tournaments, are some of the most rewarding things that you can participate in.
That's what we
That
want.
will promote people not doing what they're doing right now,
Yeah,
because then every game you will need to log that experience. You will need to take the time to be able to perform when it matters, and you'll only get a couple times to do it a year, at best.
yeah, and if you're practicing using the helper, which you won't have access to, you're going to be at a disadvantage, right? So you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's tough right now because like the higher end tournaments, the modern or the League of Champions type tournaments and stuff like that, those are run by the Bubkey bots right now, or they were in the past at least. So, that you're not going to get really a top finish in that unless you're running one of those bots or your Jace K. That's just like the ultimate, player kind of thing. But so there's a possibility if you have all the cards and you can play in there that you can still perform at a high level. But
Yeah.
if you just have a okay deck and you're not, at the very top, you're not really going to get a good placement in those higher up tournaments.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just kind of sad. And after someone mentions it on the comments here that tournaments and brawls are DeFi farming, but so I agree with that. But I would say it's just now more DeFi farming because everyone has access to the Battle Helper. How many years has the Bubkey bot been just milking all those rewards from people? So it's just that it's a more even playing field now, which again doesn't make it better. It's just more formal DeFi than ever before. Like in the past, maybe you only had, 5 to 10 people in a tournament using a bot, and they were probably taking the top spots, but the rest of the spots were available for human players to fight over. Now, not so much.
And I do hope that if this proposal actually passes in the main vote, that the very next one is that whatever solutions put here is put into brawls and tournaments.
Yeah. Well, and that was where I kind of expected the first one to go. Like, since the SPS DAO essentially is what's paying the payouts for the SPS tournament, right? It's part of the distribution responsible by the DAO. I thought that was actually going to be the first area that we were like, put up some walls. But you know what? I'll take modern. because I've been feeling the itch, not that kind of itch. I've been feeling the urge lately to
Go see
get
a
back
doctor.
in and play my account, and because
Okay.
there's been a couple times when and I'm like, man, I could play a couple games right now, and I'm like, never mind, my bot's got me at 0 energy. Like, I literally can't pick up the game right now. It's kind of
Oh, that's a
interesting. That's the
pity.
way I've set
That's a
myself up.
pity. Yeah.
So, I think I don't know. We'll see what I end up doing next season. But I think maybe here at the very end, I might turn it off, play it myself, and then go into
Nice.
next season and see what I can do. I've always been very adamant against playing, because like right now my account's playing in Wild, which it has no business playing in Wild. I don't own Wild cards. That's just where the rewards are the best. And so I already super deficit in terms of my deck versus the total deck available, and also playing in gold with a silver deck. I'm just for me, just going out to slaughter like that was never something that I wanted to try. Um, but I don't know. I kind of have the urge for it lately, just to give it a try. Because I mean, if the bot's doing it, then that means I can do
You can do it
something.
too.
I'm
Exactly.
still pretty confident that I can outplay my bot. I just got to
Yeah.
figure, I just got to figure some stuff out. So yeah, I might try to do it myself, see how far we can end up going, and just refamiliarize myself with what's going on. Because I will be making the transition to gold sometime this year, I think.
Nice. Making progress.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're growing. We're getting
growing.
big in a bear market. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
That's nice. So Canada has a question here. How long has the bot helper been around, or the hand helper been around?
It's been a minute. At least a month or two at this point.
It's probably been 3 months or so, 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Another comment about tournaments from Chuni. How about the win trading with players that enter more than one account in tourneys? Frustrating, yes, for sure.
Goat game.
Yeah, that's another area that I don't think we deal with it every weekend.
Splinterlands, are you?
Yeah, we deal with it, from that perspective. And then Mondroid just posted about it with D-Tuff. D-Tuff has like 3 or 4 accounts in all the top ones too. So yeah, you shouldn't and I always view it like real life. Like, you can't show up in a real life tournament and play 4 seats.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
So,
you only get to participate as one person, not 4. That's not a legit move. You can't do that.
How do you distinguish, without pairing alts with mains, or doing that kind of investigating? I don't know. I have no ideas for that.
You see, KYC is the only thing that's going to solve that, right? Because the same person can't register for 2 accounts on the same KYC, right? So,
well, they kind of can. So like with Mondroid, like he's, I think, using Clove's account, and he has his own account. So technically he could enter in the same tournament twice as a KYC player. So
yeah,
there
but that's
are
if it's
even,
KYC against Clove and not against the guy.
Yeah,
but
I
hear you.
stopping.
It's a gray area, right? It's
I think
it's
there's
complicated.
I think there's a combination of things. I mean, the combination of all the stuff that they could do, like I was saying, the reCAPTCHA plus the getting rid of the API. You could have an IP address per tournament if you wanted to, which you can get around.
VPNs, yeah.
The KYC thing that you said, like you can basically make it a lot more difficult to do to where it's not worth it.
But still, you can
still
get around it. Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, there's stuff that they could try to do to at least mitigate it. I mean, at least like if you don't submit a team, then you're getting the rewards from the tournament. Like I think some of those from the the weekends tournaments, the Goat Gang ones, I don't know if does either team ever submit a team, or is it always both never submit a team?
It's usually that the
it's
one
the same
doesn't
team.
submit a team.
Is it just
Isn't
the
it-
same team?
Isn't it the same team where they draw? That's kind of been...
No, it all depends. Like, and this is how you know it's like for real. Oftentimes in the win trading, especially in that single elimination tournament, they'll share a win each, and then the main account will take the third, right?
Take
To
the
make
third.
sure that and they will force a draw too. Actually, that's something that we have seen as well. So they'll make sure that the losing account gets away with one more win and a draw to push himself way higher than any
To
of the other
climb higher.
tiebreakers.
Yeah.
So that is something that we have noticed. So usually the win trading in the single elimination ends up being the winning account went like 2-1-1 and the losing account went 1-2-1.
Okay. So Bakuhonia with some comments about the helper to Canada. The battle helper has been around for 1 or 2 months, and then he adds that no wonder why I felt like I've been struggling the last month or so.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one. Thank goodness. Wow.
I would like to think that I'm not dealing with that because I'm only playing like
The alpha
bronze
betas.
tournaments and silver tournaments. So like the payouts aren't that good. There's no way people are using battle helpers down here.
Down in bronze and silver, sure.
But I've been getting clapped too. So yeah, battle helpers. The battle helpers have been beating me. That's what it is.
So Canada, I've also been getting my butt kicked in Diamond. I was hoping to reach champion this season for the first time, but I don't think that's a reality for me. I've been getting my butt kicked here in champion so hard. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I'll just say, look, I mean, Baku is a great player. You know, Rogue, you're obviously a great tournament player. Virus as well. Damour. I mean, you guys are all great players, like top players, like no joke. And you know, it's not like just out of the blue, some of these random accounts can all of a sudden overnight become top players. And these are things that make you go, right? Because what's really changed? It's not like you've all of a sudden lost mental capacity and forgot how to play the game. So what gives, right? And the change is battle helper.
Yeah. But yeah. So what are we looking forward to next week?
Just
I mean, one other
question here. Sorry, are people able to see the who uses the battle helper? Not really.
Yeah. No, I think they are in the Discord. You can see who's paying for it.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yes,
You can
and
go
no.
check in the Discord, and then you'll be able to see who has entered commands.
So that's not exactly true because there's ways to do it discreetly without doing it in the main Discord.
Okay.
But my understanding is there might be a log somewhere that's a global log because there was a report on PeakD where someone went through the top, I think it was 20 guilds and showed what percentage of them were using battle helper in brawls, which was a very high percentage. So I don't know the specifics. I haven't looked into it myself, honestly, but I believe that data might be out there.
Okay. Damn, that makes me sad, man. You know, when you think you're competing against real players and actually, getting a good challenge and they're beating you legitimately, and that's not the case actually. That feels bad, man. It feels bad.
And that's, and it's tough too, just like the change in mindset of using bots in ranked kind of thing. Like, you thought you'd never do it, but then you start using it kind of thing. It's just that if that was, disallowed, but if it was taken out, you'd be more than happy to go back to what it was. So I'm hoping to see that shift with brawls and tournaments of, if these things are taken out, where it's like very difficult or, there's non-existent bots or hand helpers anymore, that we can get back to what it was.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, look, this is a game. Like there's no other game that I play that someone plays for me. Right. Like if I want to play a sport or if I want to play a video game, it's like, I don't power up, like a game of Fortnite or whatever and say, hey, Chat GPT, play this for me because this is fun if you play it for me instead of me. No, the whole point of the game is to do it yourself.
Whoa. Time out. Like, isn't that what Twitch is on? Like, Twitch is literally I'll play the video game, you just watch me, like, and it'll be fun, right? Like,
well, that's a different
that's all
topic.
the whole generation's doing now.
Yeah.
They're just like, I want to watch other people play games.
Right.
Because
Like,
they do
I
it
don't
better
really
than
want
me.
to play.
Okay.
Well, Twitch is not a
Fine.
game per se. I'm just saying
Yeah,
if
but I
you've like evolved past just watching other people play and you actually want to play, then we're
Yeah.
at a game level, and then we can talk
Right.
like, yeah, you want to play, obviously.
I tell you what, though, like, I think there's a financial, like, barrier to that too. Like, maybe you're just rich enough you don't have to play. Like, that's the cool part. You just pay other people to play and just be like, you go play for me. Go play for me. I'm gonna sit here and eat grapes. Just go play for me.
And After
Chinny
Sun
says
has
we're
a
no longer
great
playing
point
a
there.
game, we're playing yield farm only.
And this is the point: is the reason why people watch Twitch is they don't watch it for the gameplay necessarily. They're watching it because they want to see the host, the streamer, the personality, of that person. They don't want to just see, Watson play chess. Who wants to watch that? I mean, geez.
You wouldn't watch Hardy Stonefish play chess?
No.
I'd pay Hardy Stonefish to play chess.
Yeah, you do that.
Get it?
Okay.
Not gonna be me. But
you and only you, perhaps.
Oh, Hardy. You gotta pet the Hardy Stonefish.
Look, I love
I
my
do this
stonefish.
before I open packs. Just come
Another
pet the
thing
Hardy
too
Stonefish.
is that I don't think that GLG or tower defense even is possibly immune to this. I think that they might have bots as well.
Yeah.
And it sounds
tell you
weird
what,
for tower defense.
Tower defense
but
is going to be a really fun game to stream. I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
streaming tower defense.
Okay. Interesting.
But the way that the back end works is similar to Splinterlands, where you could call from the outside and possibly place it. I don't know of what it would take. I've never tried to create a bot or anything like that, but it's possible.
Yeah, it's also API based, right? So it's
well, this is kind of just because of the game types we're looking at, right? You're looking at card games, you're looking at turn-based games, or
yes.
These are things that can be botted because they're simple in nature. Like if you go to and I know this is not Splinterlands TV, so I can mention it, but if you look at a game like a Web3 game like Wildcard, which I don't know if you've seen some of the streams on that, it's kind of like a MOBA that uses cards to choose the monsters that you drop down in the lanes and stuff. But the point of that is it's kind of like an Overwatch or League of Legends type of feel, and because of that, the chances of someone having a bot for that type of game is very difficult because you're playing another human, and it's an actual game where they might have aimbot or card drop bot or whatever helpers like that, but it's not like you can automate the whole thing. The games that we're talking about here specifically with Splinterlands is these are things that are not like fast twitch real time type of games. These are things that can be obviously botted quite easily. So
I'm getting too old for fast twitch type of games. Can't do it.
Rogue, are you even over 30?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
You're a geezer.
Yeah. I can feel it in my knees.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's I think it'll be interesting to see. I agree with After Sound. I think we're definitely in it for the personalities and the people, and that's one of the things that Weirdbeard gets, and he was saying, and that's what I was hoping he would be able to kind of translate. And we did it with Splinterfest. Like we did it with Splinterfest to a point. Like they saw it, they felt it, and I hope that we can get to a stable part or a stable season within our company that we can do in-person things and that they're important, that they're not things that you want to miss, and that going to these things get you promo cards.
Yes, that's what I want to see.
Don't have to buy them.
Yes, that's what I want to see.
Just throwing that out there.
I
Not
like
I
that.
have decades of TCG in-person experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, What are you guys looking forward to next week? Oh man, here, Canada, jerk.
Trying to think what's coming up next. Is there anything they've said? I know there's a couple things they're supposed to release soon.
Yeah, I mean we're on the cusp of like the promo was the thing that we were looking forward the most, right? But we're kind of on the cusp of we're right around the corner on tower defense. We're right around the corner on GLG. The alliance buildings were there, but honestly, they're sneaking up on us with this SPS delegation.
Yeah.
They snuck that out. So I wonder how close we actually are to the new
system.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. I think big changes ahead if the delegation, the SPS delegation, would finally go live, right?
Yeah, they didn't hype this at all. They just kind of were like, "Oh yeah, here, this is what we're doing this week."
There's a reason for that, Rogue. It's not like they snuck it in there. It's more that it's been delayed for so long we just forgot about it. It's probably more accurate.
We were told very adamantly that we can't have it until validator nodes. Can't have it till validator nodes. Can't have it till validator nodes. And then they just pivoted, I would say 2 town halls ago, and they were like, we're gonna try to do it. We're gonna do it without validator nodes. We're gonna get this thing going. And then the next town hall, they were like, it's here.
But
I feel like Matt said it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because I don't know if I exactly got the specifics there, but I think it was they're running their own private net of validator software, not the public version. Is that correct?
Well, so I know that's on the Q2 roadmap or whatever the sprint that they're in. That sprint did include the testnet for the validator nodes.
Well, I don't think the SPS is on it yet because I mean, if you go to the vouchers right now, you can transfer vouchers between SPS chain, Hive Engine, or in-game. And if you're not seeing that for SPS right now, then I don't think it's
on there yet.
On the validators yet.
I agree.
Yeah, so this is where we're at now. So they actually do have within this sprint, they actually do have replacing CP requirement with SPS staking. And so part of validators here was SPS delegation. So they got it. It's just not and so the testnet,
it's not all going live at the same time. It's coming in
improved
stages.
Experience, 1-click set rentals. I don't think we've got that yet. Soul Keep and 1.5 we know is end of end. Quarterly promos there, new mini, that's kind of the thing. So wow, they're actually they're here. Update ECR, they did that, right? Yep. Okay, so they're actually all done now from the first sprint. They've done these last 4, and then they've knocked out actually
the next one.
A decent bit of this. Maybe not. Well, I mean, we know these 2 are very end of the quarter. So yeah, maybe that's close. That's what I'm very interested to see what that looks like.
Sure. And to just answer Canada's question, how does delegation work? We don't really know at this stage. We're all in the dark
I haven't
here.
tried it.
We will see once it goes live.
Well, it is live.
It's live. Yeah.
It is live.
Oh, it is live?
Yeah, I could delegate something.
So you can delegate stuff right now?
I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how either.
There's a manage button down a little bit. It says manage. Yep.
So I can delegate to
manage.
Let's give it to Squirtle.
Okay.
Let's give him 1,000 SPS.
And do you delegate yourself?
It did not even ask me if I was sure. It did not ask me.
It just does it.
I just did it. That was a big number to test. I thought I was gonna ask me, are you sure you want? How do I? Let's see. Can I just undo that? Max. Undelegate. You cannot
7
undelegate
days.
until at least 7 days passes.
Oh, so it's stuck for 7 days. Wow. Okay. I'm glad I didn't do
Whoops! I did that for you guys. That was
Well,
for the content.
There you go. That's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it.
Squirtle is literally not going to use a single bit of this SPS. Okay,
Get Squirtle in some tournaments now.
dude, I am not playing my alts in tournaments. Like, I'm already making the mistake of trying to have them do brawls, and I can't. The majority of them never play their brawls. But I am curious though. At this point, is that still?
It is not transferred. It is delegated, so it remains your SPS, but it's just in use on the other account.
And so I'm still getting like 14K worth of like vouchers and staking rewards and all that stuff, right?
I believe so. And then I think also the voting. Your
Is
vote
still with
weight
you.
is still the same.
I would hope so.
Okay.
Well,
So the other person literally only gets the benefit of entering tournaments and stuff like that, right? That's kind of
that's
what
the
it comes down
only
to.
application at the moment. But
Okay.
yeah, did a thing, guys. Oops, live on air for you.
Well, thanks for doing the thing, man.
For you, Squirtle is fed.
Well, if you need it back, just sell a couple part and you'll be good to get your SPS back.
Bro, I did. I've sold everything down to 75% at this point, and I've got $140 some dollars or whatever. And I'm shocked. I don't understand. Like, it's got to come down eventually, right? Like, we're not just gonna. This game doesn't exist forever with $1 per part, right? Whale's got a sale eventually.
I think that's on Yixon if he keeps on doing what he's doing with just pushing out that dev. If he comes out, so TerraCore is the same kind of game, but it has already gone through that cycle of where its token values had dropped a lot. They just released NFTs where you can start basically boosting your account with these NFT packs so you can buy, and the coin immediately shot up like 40%. So if Yixon went nuts and, like, let's say in next week started releasing packs of NFTs to boost your account, it would go even higher.
Yeah. No, it would be crazy. And that's honestly, but like shards would be crazy. I don't know. At some point I'm thinking somebody has to pull like the trigger, right? Like, these big whales are pulling in thousands of part per claim, right? That's $1,000 in 8 hours.
If Chipmunk wanted to, he could crash the entire
That's where I'm at.
He could probably do it in one just pull of his rewards for the day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if so, let's go look at this. Let's go look at this, because I've constantly stared at this, and I'm like, this is a house of cards, but it's clearly not. Because
it's definitely a house of cards. Look, let's not pull any punches here. The game has potential, but just do not put anything in this game that you're expecting to get back anytime soon. So, I mean,
look at this.
The depth
There's literally only 4,000 part between where we're at and one hive. Like, that's all that is there for the buy wall, right? How has it been here for like the last 2 weeks?
People have been, coming into the game. They still have new players coming in. I mean, remember, Splinter Forge had a 2-month period where it was on peg with DEC, clearly, and then ever since then, it's struggled. But they didn't put in measures like Yixon put in to, changed the way the game, like literally Yixin changed the way the game worked once the token dropped on like day 2, and it saved the game at that point in time because it was going in a bad route. Like it was going to be like a 2-day game basically. And that was a pretty bold move. And again, it's only a temporary thing because, and I mentioned this on comments on YouTube and on streams as well, is when you have an infinite token that has infinite print rate and just prints every day as more accounts come online, and you have a 25% extraction of that infinity times 25% is still infinity. So it can't sustain. There has to be, as Virus says, there has to be NFTs. There has to be something else added. And let's be honest, the game, part of the game is not really a game. I mean,
no.
If part was worth the same as Rising Stars token, would you play Golem Overlord?
Hell no. I would be the biggest, fattest golem you've ever seen in your flipping life. I'd be so leveled up in prestige. Like, you know how many Rising Star cards I own right now? Because it's flipping pennies. Yeah, I'd spend if it was pennies. I'd be so thick.
You'd be a millionaire in Rise token.
100. I mean, yeah, I'd be a million partonaire, right? Yeah, I'd be like logging in to do my like part millionaire challenge every day.
I just don't. I mean, when people say there's a complex meta and there's a fun game, I'm like, come on.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Where?
I'm like, come on, guys.
Where? Not here. That's for sure.
I will say though, there is always something that's been really addictive about idle clickers, and in terms of just leveling up and progressing your account. I think oftentimes I've talked about this in really just evaluation of my own mental health. Oftentimes I find when I'm in a funk, I gravitate to stuff like a Candy Crush or like a little puzzle games or whatever, because it's in those 3 minutes, right? I can do a task that is clearly you did it right or you did it wrong, right? And I get a good feeling for doing it right. The idle clickers here are like just like a constant growth achievement, like you're always getting bigger and you're noticeably getting bigger, and that also kind of feels good. Because it reminds me of early Facebook, early remember the games that used to be on there? Like, I don't know if you guys ever played like Hemp Tycoon or any of the the Mafia Boss or like Vampire or whatever.
The game sounds familiar, but I never played them.
Dude, I mean, they're all just idle, like show up, do some stuff, your energy depletes, come back, energy comes up. Mafia Wars on MySpace. Yeah, see, Canada gets it. That's what I'm talking about. And so yeah, it was this kind of reminds me of that. It was like that was early social media style of games, and it almost feels the same way here on the blockchain. It's like trying to build on the blockchain again. It's almost like we're taking that step back into time where like we're going to that original style of entertainment. So, but yeah, I enjoy the aspect of just logging on every couple of hours and collecting. I had to make a decision recently because it did reach that threshold in my mind where I thought it was unsustainable. I thought over 2 hive per part was like, okay. And so I started selling. Wow. Yeah. So I started selling, and I'm now at that point where I've reached 75% sell. But before that, I was just full burning back into the game, growing. I was top. I was like 150 something on the leaderboard. So no, it's but yeah, we've reached that point where I think the price is at a point where it's got to come down. Like, look at this. It's 3,000 part and it's back to 1 hive. Like it's not a.
I mean, I will say, like, I'm super small in the game, and Virus will know I was asking on Discord, you both, Rogue and Virus, about just even how to play the game. Like, I'm super small in the game, but like I'm able to pull out like $50 a day, and that's just my 25%, and I put no money in. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's hard
big.
to yeah,
Jeez,
it's
okay.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
multiple
like
accounts.
right, the price of Chaos Legion packs. That's like 25 Chaos Legion packs a day. So
Yeah,
it's
dude, I've been
it's
thinking
silly.
about it in that context too, because that's how I was with the GLX airdrop. The GLX airdrop when that started, and it was kind of pumping. Remember, we were at like 30 some cents or whatever. It was literally like 10 Chaos Legion packs a day, and I was like, hell yeah, I'll make that trade all day. And it's really easy to think about it in that perspective. So, like, yeah, if I can claim, 10 part or whatever right now, that's 4 packs of Chaos Legion every 8 hours. Like,
Jeez.
that's sure. Why not? Like, that's, full claim, but so I don't know what 25% looks like, but
Make me FOMO in here at this late hour.
Not financial advice, Damour.
yeah, not financial advice. But no, what'll end up happening, and what I'm hoping happens is I'm hoping that the price does go back down, because I would like to get all that part back. Like, at this point, I've claimed 542, but I've only burned 392, and I was pretty much 1 for 1. So I'd like to at least get back to 1 for 1, because at the end of the day, I made that move, and I would like for some of my profits to have just been being flexible at that point. Like, I don't want to play the game where I'm constantly extracting 25%, because that doesn't give me flexibility to move when the market does stupid stuff. Right. So, like, what I did was I was at 100% the whole time. Market went up to 2+ hive per, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to sell. Instead of being 25% when it was low and 25% now, and constantly following that way. Because then if I'm able to get back in at a better price than what I sold, then my percent usage here ends up being over 100%. And that'll give me more leverage in the future to when something does happen. Like when they're like, yeah, pack sales now, part makes another giant jump. I've got 30% worth of claims at my new higher threshold that I can then start cashing, right? So that's kind of the way I'm playing it. But man, that price hasn't come down, so I haven't been able to get back in. Let me in. Let me in.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Okay.
Golem Overlord content. You're welcome.
There you go.
You can't help but not talk about it. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, it Tails is right. There's nothing here. But man, I do love talking about this game.
Hey, who wouldn't want to talk about a money tree in their backyard, right? I mean, it's fun.
Talking to my father-in-law, like I was at home for lunch and everything, and I was jump on my computer real quick, and he's like, "What are you up to?" I was like, "Oh, I was just claiming my $20 for this 8 hours." He's like, "What?" It's like crypto, it's just a crypto thing.
It's that whole infinite money loop. So
I
just
don't know.
printing some money. Thank
just
you.
doing this thing, get $20 every 8 hours. It's nothing. It's just crypto.
I'm serious. Move along.
Move along. Love it. All right, guys, but it is late. Hopefully my wife hasn't passed out yet. I need to go make sure that she does not cramp up tonight, but it has been an awesome show. I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. The question is, who is bidding part, right? Yeah, I don't know. Well, I did know a couple days ago. It was Yebamat. Yebamat had some big buy walls. That dude was
it's all on Hive Engine. You can see who's buying all the user IDs pretty much, unless they're swapping it on tribal decks.
So, I mean, honestly, I think they're just market bots that were doing the majority of these MC bots, and then, but yeah, but no, I gotta go, guys.
So say goodbye. That's as easy as that.
Trying to say goodbye. But guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate that all of you guys were here with us tonight. Virus, you got any final thoughts?
No, I'm excited to see regardless of how it came, I'm excited to see the bot changes might be in the future. So I'd like to see the competition come back to human players again.
Yeah. Damour?
I'm in agreement. I think that's exciting. I think it's been needed for a while to curb the bots in some way. Again, I'm just going to reiterate what I always say is, I don't want it to cost human players too much, as long as they can, maintain that balance. So penalize the bots or prevent the bots, don't penalize the humans, and then we're okay.
Tails?
Yeah, no, I would just say, I just want to thank yourself, Rogue, and Damour for hosting this stream. And it's always good to hop on here and chat and talk shop. So appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, dude, no problem, brother. I'm glad you're here. But yeah, I'm very grateful, that this show's been going on for as long as it has. I'm glad that Luke kind of put this into our ear to, make sure that a podcast was being carried on when Luke was done with doing his. I think that these kinds of conversations go a long way in the community. And so I would absolutely encourage, everyone to continue to show up, to your live shows and to support your content creators. And let's just keep the dialogue going. This is, it's not just the people that spend the money here that are a part of this community, or a part of this ecosystem. All of us have a part and all of us have a job. And as long as we show up every day, then the dream's never going to die. But
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, everybody, and see you guys soon. GG, everyone.
Thanks,
Cheers, guys. Thanks.